Hey guys, welcome to week 2 of your nutrition coaching program. So, week 1's out of the way. Brilliant, hope you enjoyed the training. Now I already know you're gonna be a little bit sore, but don't worry, okay? Because you're gonna get some heat rub. You're gonna put that on, you're gonna stretch regularly, yeah? And every time you come to the session, you're gonna feel better and better, and that soreness will reduce just tip that down a little bit, every single time, okay? So don't worry, just crack on. Now, last week's video, hope you watched it. If you didn't, you need to, okay? So remember, they were the foundations of any weight loss or health program, okay? If you don't have those things in place, you are not gonna get healthy, you're not gonna lose the body fat, okay? Or you may initially, but you will get to a stick point, and that will be why. So make sure you put those into place. Obviously, we'll have a coaching call coming up as well. Maybe you've already had one, you might have one coming up. So make sure you listen to everything we go through on there. It will match these videos. As I said, as it goes through the week, it might veer off, but make sure that you're kind of on track and you're listening to everything as we go through, yeah? Don't overcomplicate it either. Make sure you fully understand what you're doing and why you are doing it, okay? I'm trying to teach you the best practices for losing weight and keeping it off, yeah? It doesn't have to be complicated. So, this week, what we're gonna work on, so first thing we're gonna work on is limiting your carbohydrates. Don't worry, I'm not telling you this is a low carb diet, and I'm gonna explain that in just a second. So, why do we limit carbs? Because carbs, certain types of carbs are proven to increase body fat, okay? Now, this is not a low carb diet, so the only carbs we're gonna watch are those starchy carbohydrates, okay? Most of the food that you eat will contain carbs, even if it's a high protein food, yeah? So if you read the food label, let's say cheese. Cheese, most people think cheese is carbs or fat, it's proteins or fats. There's always carbs in there as well, okay? Now, we don't need to be concerned with carbs from most vegetables. So what I'm not gonna tell you is for a total for today, you can only eat 150 grams of carbs. I don't do that. What we are gonna do though is we are gonna count those ones that cause issues. Now, which ones are they? I will add a list to this email as well, or to the email where you got the link for this video. So make sure you download that, and I'll give you a few examples of the food you need to avoid, and I'll just run through a few of them just now so you're aware. Some of the common ones. So some of the most common ones that do this are oats, so porridge. We need to watch those. Not necessarily starchy, but it is still proven that we have too many of those. It does increase your body fat. We're looking at rice, potato, pasta, bread. Okay, anything sort of crisp bread, so say the Ryvitas, etc. Those are the things that we have to watch. Cereals as well, so breakfast cereals, Weetabix, etc. We have to watch those because, as I said, they will stop, or they'll encourage your body fat to increase, but they will also stop your fat burn as soon as you eat them, okay? So, how many do we need? We need 50 grams a day. It doesn't have to be exact, so we're looking at about 46 grams or 56, 44, 58 as a push, whatever it may be, as long as we're not going too far over or too far under. Now, some people have come back to me after weeks that they spread it out, so one day they might have had 25, the next day 75. Try not to do that, okay? You're looking for 50 grams every single day. Why is that important? Well, one, as I said, because we want to keep that fat burning as much as possible. So as soon as we take a starchy carb in, the body recognizes that and starts to use that as energy instead of body fat. Okay, so if you imagine if you spread this out over a day as well, so it's like, okay, I'm gonna have 20 grams of porridge oats in the morning, I'm gonna have 20 grams of bread for lunch, and then I'm gonna have the other 10 grams in the evening meal. Now you're stopping your body fat from burning at those 3 points every day, okay? So what you need to do is try and bunch it together. I would always suggest that you put it as early as possible, so oats are great in the morning for that. Be aware as well, 50 grams of porridge oats is not 50 grams of carbohydrate. You need to read the label, yeah? So it might be that 60 grams of porridge oats is actually 50 grams of carbs. Now, if you're not sure on that, you can ask me and I can just teach you how to read that label. It's very, very, very simple. So again, not very complicated. It's just getting it right. Consistency is key on all of this that we go through over the weeks as well. So make sure you're hitting that consistently. Another reason why we're not doing a low carb diet, okay, so obviously we're watching those because we want you to store body fat, but actually you're going to pick up the rest of the carbs from the rest of your food, okay, so lots of vegetables, etc. The reason we don't go low carb is because we need that as energy in the muscle, okay, so we need to make sure that we're getting at least 50 grams. It's going to go into the muscle as glycogen, It might be that it's a little bit too much for some people and not enough for others, so we can adjust them as we go through the week. So if you're feeling particularly tired as you go through, and you're eating enough vegetables, you're eating enough protein, then it must be that those carbs are a little bit too low for you personally, so we can adjust as we go through. Now, tips on hitting these. It is a case of forming habits. So as I said, try and form them all into one meal. If it is too difficult, you can just slowly ease yourself into this. So it could be that you do it for 3 days a week initially, and the rest of the time you're just still on plan, but you're not following it quite as closely. You can't do that for any more than a week though. So let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, starting to get used to it slightly, and then from the week after you start having it every day. Okay, but to be honest, the quicker you do this, the better it is, okay? And if you can just start doing it straight away anyway, those habits will form much more quickly, obviously, as we go through to the 12 weeks, because you're going to be surprised how quickly this passes by, yeah? So 12 weeks is not a long time to get you the result that you really want. Now, the other thing I want you to look at today is your protein intake. So, protein food, so anything that comes from eyes, so that's the best way to look at it. So we call it face, so face food. So we've got meat, fish, got poultry, you have eggs, yeah. Most people say cheese on this one as well, but that's a little bit too high fat for what we want. If we're thinking about protein, we want to keep it as pure as possible. You can also get things like whey protein powders, and if you want any advice on that, just come and ask. There are vegetable sources as well. The only problem with vegetable sources is they're not usually a complete protein, so you have to combine them with other foods. If you are a vegetarian, I will add a list on here as well on how to combine those foods, but what that can do is shoot up that carbohydrate intake. So it's best if we have a conversation about that if that's you, and we can sort it out from there. So how do you increase your protein and how much do you want? Now, every meal, we're looking about 20 to 25 grams of protein as a start point. So that will give you about 75 grams of protein a day. Yeah? So, morning meal, the easiest way to add protein into your breakfast, if you're having porridge, you would buy a whey protein powder and you can add it into that, or you can drink it separately. You can also add 3 or 4 eggs into your breakfast. So you might have scrambled egg instead of porridge in the morning, or maybe have porridge, take 3 or 4 scrambled eggs, not scrambled, boiled eggs to work with you, so you can eat them on your break time, so you're adding protein early on. Portion sizes as you go through the rest of the meals, they are a little bit easier. Basically, we go for a palm size portion. Okay, so obviously your palm is in relation to your body size, so it generally works out quite well. So it's palm size, and you're also looking at the thickness as well. Yeah, so you want it that thick, that size, and that will generally give you about 20 grams to 25 grams of protein per portion. And just simply, if it looks like a piece of meat, that's probably a chicken breast for most people. Some people it's a chicken breast and a half. Men, we are looking at a little bit more, so I know some of you, your families are going to be following this as well. Men need double the amount, okay, so they would have 2 palm-sized pieces of whatever it is, protein, as their meal allowance. Again, looking at 3 times a day on there, okay? Again, it might be difficult to hit in the beginning. That is just a start point as well. We do want to get a little bit higher than that. This isn't a high protein, low carb diet, so make sure you understand that before we go any further. So 50 grams of starchy carbs, or carbs that are related or proven to cause issues with weight gain or body fat increase. So porridge, cereals, crisp breads, potato, rice, pasta, etc. Yeah, there's a list here on the email, so make sure you read that. It's very, very simple. Limit those to 50 grams, read the label, and your protein, you want about 20 grams per session, so 3 meals a day. As I said, whey protein as an alternative, if you can't really hit that in the morning, is a great alternative. It's so easy, and it's that palm size portion for the other 2 meals every single day. Okay? So make sure you hit that. Any confusion, just get back to me, and I will see you next session. Simple as that. See you later, folks.